Who got the computer?
No, I was looking at the screen.
Music. Hey. Hey, hey. Comments. Thought we were going to really blow up because TikTok was shut down for 2 minutes. All but 2 minutes. We're welcoming you, and you to Chat It Up with Coach Q. As you know, we are here every other week right now. I tell you, y'all, it is hard on these streets. I was like, do I continue? Do I stop? But if I'm reaching one person, if we're reaching one person, we want to keep coming.
That's right.
So, again, I am here with Renee. I was like, why not have the conversation? I know y'all noticed. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all a minute. Check Renee out, honey. She came ready today. Okay. All right, look at her, y'all. She a lip gloss, mascara, everything is popping. Mm-hmm. She was trying to show me up a little bit, but it's cool. Mm-hmm. It's cool. You know what I mean? That's what I aspire to be one day, Renee.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, I aspire to be that. But we are here. We have full people on set. It's exciting because me and Renee ain't got to jump up and go grab nothing because we have Nikki and Stacy here. They've been on vacation.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, Renee. I feel like it's just like, you know what I mean?
I know.
So, you see their faces. They're like, they be working the ones and twos. They do really be working the ones and twos otherwise. But so here we go, y'all. We are here back today on relationship topics. This is just what y'all want to hear. And so we have some relationship scenarios, some things that have come up via chat. Via chat, mostly in my personal inbox. I encourage you, send it through the email. The email is chatitup.coachq@gmail.com. They're going to put it in the notes. chatitup.coachq@gmail.com. That way, Nikki, who mans the email, she can help vet through some of that stuff because sometimes I don't get to it in the chats. And so I'd be like, okay, somebody talked about isolation. Somebody wanted to hear more about gaslighting. And so some of those things as well, right? Mm-hmm. But then a lot of you enjoyed the conversation we had about navigating difficult conversations. Like, how do you navigate difficult conversations? And we talked through that last week, right. Making sure people understood the topic and that you create a room and, people want to be heard before they're understood. So first I need to know that you're listening, right. And then I want to be understood. So we're going to talk about all that. But at first, I want to add, I just be all over the place sometimes, but I wanted to add, what's in the news? What was y'all thoughts on this TikTok thing? Y'all knew it wasn't going to last long. Do y'all feel like, not to talk politics, but that Biden did the right thing? Like, here, I'm going out of here. Let me go out with a bang and turn and not enforce the ban on TikTok. I thought that was cool that he did that.
I knew it was going to happen. I
knew
think
it was
just
too.
Going to be so much hype about it, and then they're going to be like, oh, but TikTok's staying anyway.
Yeah,
I think there was so much hype about it.
Yeah, and I think that was almost like a smack in Trump's face because, if he had banned it, Trump would have come back and be like, yeah, look what I did. I brought it back.
Right.
And so he was like, nah, I ain't going to enforce it. So now all Trump going to do is uphold it. Mm-hmm. Or it could have been like reverse psychology. Now he did it, and Trump could come behind him trying to prove a point and be like, nah, I'm going to ban it.
No, I'm going to shut it down.
Yeah, I'm going to shut it down.
Yes.
I doubt it. Jordan told me about a new thing, though, that some people on TikTok own. It's Lemonade.
Lemonade and Red Note.
And
Red
so
Note
they
is
was
the
like,
abbreviated name.
Yes. So they said that there's other means, but y'all folk was ready to fly to China. Okay, because that's some big money. I don't pretty much blame them.
People
but I was like,
damn. People make their living off of TikTok.
Yeah, they probably have. Matter of fact, speaking of TikTok, let's go ahead and add TikTok to the flow. Like, why not? Since we here, I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm gonna go ahead and add TikTok to the flow. Let me go ahead and go live. YouTube, though, we appreciate y'all because this is where the views count. Let me turn down the volume and everything. Let me go ahead. We might as well go live on TikTok since we here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hand this to Nikki. If y'all see something black and round, it is Nikki.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, so y'all gotta
Alrighty
do it
then.
Nikki want to put her booty on the screen. Then she gonna try to keep it close to the floor. Don't keep it close to the floor. Come on, let's get those views up and stuff up there.
She always trying to put somebody on blast.
I know, but look at it. Look at it. Look at it. You rounding out, Nick.
All them squats and
All them
RDLs
squats.
and
I mean, she 2 days. I'm gonna stop messing
what's
with
that supposed to mean?
She you 2 days too. That's right. All right, my bad. But shout out to my Breathe Easy 4 days. And Stacy is here. We miss you, Stacy. I know y'all be looking for her because I said there is somebody like everybody that watches us, and Stacy is gone. And y'all know Stacy keep us in order. You know that one. That's cool. Update to go live. Update what?
TikTok.
The
Probably since
band.
it
What I need
was
to
off,
update.
Probably off air. Now they back and you need to update.
Do you gotta update something? It ain't doing it. Okay, TikTok. So we ain't gonna do it today then. Oh well, just hit the button.
That's interesting. Okay.
That's real interesting. What did you have to do?
Well, I don't go live, but I had to load my TikTok.
Look at her. Uh-oh, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. I tried TikTokers, but it said I had to update something, so it's all good. But again, thank you for coming to chat it up with Coach Q. I love our conversations, Renee.
Yes, absolutely.
I really do. Y'all, Renee just blinked at me. You probably couldn't tell from where you are, but she just blinked. It's cute and stuff, whatever. So, all right, TikTok is back for however long. And we cool with that, right? And then what else is in the news? What else is the hype about? Like who, what's the relationships on the street about? Anything big going on from a relationship status with our California, like our Kardashians or anybody? What's going on?
Nelly and Ashanti, people are giving Ashanti backlash because Nelly is performing for the inauguration tomorrow.
Oh, and Snoop Dogg too, right?
And
Snoop Dogg, yes.
Hey, listen,
But they're
here's
getting
the
that
deal.
money.
Let them get their money.
Let them get
Y'all
their
gotta-
money.
Listen, the Bible says your gift will make room for you, okay? Y'all play too much. Money is green. It's not black. It's not white. It's not
That's right.
Trump. It's not Biden.
Right.
It is green. Use that money. If they call me and say, Coach Q, we want you, baby, I'm up in there. And I'm inviting all y'all to come with us. That's wisdom. Who wouldn't? So let him do it. But I have to admit, Renee always, her and these mics, I tell you, y'all, she just...
I have a hard time.
No matter
with-
what time, as she grabbed it, she said she had a hard time. As she grabbed it, she has a hard time. You can only get it on Coach Q. Look how she holding it. Hold it, Renee. Hold it. Lord have
Okay.
mercy. I'm sorry, Stacey. Since you've been gone, we got all types of... I was going to say her breast hit it, but it didn't.
Oh my God. See, now you
so-
wrong.
So just
Okay.
your foot, core. Listen, y'all.
Okay.
Only on Chat It Up with Coach Q.
Okay.
You good? She feel nervous.
Okay. I got it. I got it under control now.
You don't want it up a little bit more to your mouth?
Well, that's how I like it.
Oh! Hey. This is a PG family related. Y'all going? Okay, you.
That's good.
You gonna lean in like that?
Oh, I mean, I'm close.
Okay.
You can hear me?
No, she can't hear you.
You trying to stick it in
Like,
my mouth?
stop. I'm not. Renee is frisky today.
I mean, she keeps.
Listen, Renee.
Okay.
Like you.
Why is it so loose?
Why is it so loose? I don't know, Renee. It's maybe age.
See, we clowns today. We clowns today, just so you know.
Listen,
Because
y'all.
this is actually a little awkward right now.
How's that awkward, Renee? It's right near your mouth.
Okay.
It's near your mouth, Renee. I mean,
Be careful.
ooh,
Okay.
Jesus. Everything is fine. Listen, if you're just joining us, welcome.
Yes.
We're having great conversation.
We're having a little banter right now.
Oh my God. Listen, I need this left. Y'all, this week has been a week. I have I have just friends that are dealing with different things, and I've been, called upon to kind of be there for them. And so I've taken on a lot, been up and down along the roads, and I'm grateful that God, has equipped me and allowed me just to be there for people when they do need them. To be very honest. And what I do want to say, as it relates to relationship, how you treat people matters.
It does.
I don't know how many of you last week saw my post that I put a young lady, I worked at West Corporation. If anybody's in the Hampton Roads area, you work for West. $5.50 an hour, they were paying the highest. And when you got $5.50 an hour, I was like, oh, we big time. And don't get them extra hours for $7, $8, baby. You were working them. And what was that girl named? Cleo? Don't work them Cleo hours. It was all types of stuff. Anyway, I met this young lady named Sam. Hey, Sam. And Sam and I became fairly good friends. And then she moved away. She moved away, and I think that was like 2007. And I hadn't seen her, y'all. Hadn't heard from her, and she was been looking for me.
Right.
And she could not find me. And I think she connected with somebody who was like, it's Quetta. She kept looking on Facebook. But y'all know my name is Quetta with an E, and I don't put Cheryl Quetta. And so anyway, long story short, I was at Jordan's game. And literally, I have hundreds of messages in spam, like hundreds. And her message was at the top. And so as soon as I called, I'm in tears because I couldn't believe. And she was in tears and she was excited as well. And it had been just about probably, y'all, literally about 18 years.
Yeah.
Literally about 18 years. And the reason I want to say that is the impact I made on her life that long ago. That's what she held on to. And so when we connected again via, just a phone conversation, that's all she remembered.
Right.
And, I told her, I was like, I still don't drink. I don't cuss. She said, well, I still smoke, drink, and cuss, and it was funny that she said that, like, and I shared that to say, neither of us tried to change each other. I remained who I was as an influence in her life, and she looked up to me. And she respected that space. And just the same, I respected hers, but I was still a light. So you can be a light to someone, and it doesn't mean that you have to change them into the person that you want them to be.
Right.
You just be that light and let God do it. And she remembered, y'all, she looked for me. How many of us can say, like, people look for you because of the impact they know you had in their lives? And that's the stuff that we want to talk about. What type of impact are you making in your relationships to the point where people respect you? Am I perfect? Far from it, right? But enough where people kind of respect my voice and respect that space. Renee, seriously, you look very beautiful. I mean, like, eyebrows and everything is just popping. Thank you, Renee. I do the best I can. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or whatever. And so, y'all, let's kind of talk about, that a little bit more. Is there a relationship that you've had that you haven't spoken to someone in a while? And say that there was no tiffing, there was no beef, but you just haven't spoke to. You let time get away from you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Renee, we were walking today, myself, Sherelle, and Toya. And Toya mentioned that she saw a colleague of ours in a store, and they told her that two of our two individuals who worked with us at West had passed away. And I was like, what? And I was, only thing I thought about is, like, well, when did they pass? Was it recent? One passed away in 23 and one passed away in 2019. And these are individuals we work with for 10, 12, 13 years. Y'all, so the reality is, we can have an impact on someone's life right now, and we could transition to heaven and somebody not even know.
And not even know.
Right? And then the other side of that, I had a church member at a church I used to be associate pastor of. She, her birthday was coming out. She'll remain nameless just for the podcast, but her birthday was one day, but she passed away either the day before or that morning of her birthday. Like, people got up to wish her a happy birthday to find out that she had passed away, and she's in her 40s. I shared that. You know what my statement was, Nikki? I was like, oh my gosh, TT, I don't want to suddenly die.
Right. Right.
And guess what happens? We do die.
We do.
Because I don't want to suffer either. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I just saw Quetta yesterday. But the reality of it is, I was just talking to her.
Yeah.
My two sisters and I say the thought of mortality hits you as you begin, and not that it's an age thing, but definitely as you begin to get older, whether it's your parents and they're in their older age, the reality is that we're going to, that's hard. Yes. And so the reason I want that to sit with you all is we got to maximize relationships. Look, I play too much, but as I lay my hand on my chest and it's pumping, I feel my pecs. I play too much.
Yes.
I know I was talking about a serious subject, but as I held it, it was like flexing.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Stacey, you want to feel?
Little show off.
It's really flexing right here.
I feel
No. She said after the podcast, she don't want to be filling me up in front of y'all. But I was just right here, and my heart was beating, and it caused as I moved this anyway.
Thank you for the demonstration.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I do the best I can. You know, it's called. What do you call it early? Hated?
Jelly.
Jelly. It's some jelly going on in here. Okay. It's just some jelly going on. I got on my push-up. Y'all can't see it because of the mic. I got on my push-up and everything. They're all rounded. Stacey almost didn't recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
y'all.
what do we have here?
Yeah. I remember Kim. I'm getting back, y'all. Kim, prophetess Kim Jones, she said this one time too. Like I had on my just sports bra. She said, "You know they make them where you can sit up." I'm like, I know.
Thank you for
but
that.
I ain't lying. I don't want them. I'm good. But sometimes in certain dresses, I didn't.
Yeah, you do want a little lift.
So Renee got her little lift today too. I see it behind the jacket, Renee. Pat it up, pat it up. See, you can get it here. The everyday. She said, "Oh." Renee, Stacey did like that. Oh.
No, did you, Stace?
No.
What?
I just did like that.
I don't see it.
Chatting up with Coach Q is where you can have conversations about the everyday ish that we as adults go through. We as adults go through that. Now, Stacey can probably kiki. Nikki can't. Nikki can't kiki. We got a bunch of A cups in the room, okay?
Oh,
a bunch of A cups is in the room. And then we're somewhere on the other side of the alphabet, on the other end.
On the end? Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, prefixes.
H. I didn't even know they had those.
Prefix. It's like a prefix, yes.
It's all love, y'all. I ain't making fun of it. Break it down. I know y'all thinking,
like,
what is going on? We need
What?
them weekly, y'all. I swear laughter is medicine, and it is what is needed.
It is. Laughter is good for the soul.
Because I've cried enough tears this week. It's a lot going on. Okay. So again, we're getting to the conversation. Here's what else I want to tell y'all to do. Check y'all mailboxes. Like y'all know nowadays, well, certain people, like your mailbox ain't right at your door anymore. It ain't right at the end of the yard. Yours is though, Nikki, ain't it? End to end. But I got to go over to this major central area. So I check my mailbox, y'all. And so taxes for your homes and escrow has come out. So check to see if your home taxes are cheaper. Because my mortgage went down like by $259. Not my mortgage, but my overall payment. So I'll take it. And there was an escrow refund. So y'all check your mailboxes. Any way he blessed me, I'll be satisfied. So make sure that y'all do that. And then I've been very transparent. I kind of tell all my stuff. I had applied for food stamp, EBT. EBT. Did I ain't tell you. Girl, I applied for food stamp. EBT, Stacey, and I got approved. Guess what? What happened? For $77. And I got it for 1 month. They took it back. I don't know what happened, and I keep calling anyway, I think somebody reported me or something. But either way, what I am saying is, y'all, Coach is on the street trying to, just trying to make it. I just tell y'all all my stuff to say, it's everyday ish that we deal with. Right. That, they cut that 77 EBT off, and I didn't get it.
And and it's helpful.
It is helpful. Do you know what I bought? I bought ketchup and mayo. They make it. You can buy it.
Oh yes,
I never
that
even
combo.
knew that.
Yep,
I wouldn't have bought that absent my EBT because that's not. No, I'm gonna get ketchup for my ketchup, and I'm gonna get my mayo for my mayo. And if I want to mix it, I'm gonna mix it. But I was EBTing. But had I known that it wasn't gonna be there the next month, I would have.
I
probably would have thought that purchase. Okay, so that's all the news. That's the everyday ish that Coach Q has dealt with this week. Again, please keep my friends in prayer. I have 2 individuals I want you to keep in prayer. As it relates to a diagnosis. And so y'all just say, hey, Coach Q, how they, ask me how they doing, and I'll say fine, or keep there. But there's stuff happening, y'all, and people are going away from here every day. So I want to challenge you or charge you to get your checkups. Women, make sure that you're getting your mammograms.
Yes.
Making sure, I think they don't do pap smear now, but every 3 years unless you have something going on.
Right.
And, I'd be ready, feet in the stirrups. They be like, no, they act like these new doctors act like they scared, too.
We don't want to see it right now.
Don't do me. You know what I'm saying? But at one time, why you play so much? You've been chewing your gummies or something. Like, we've been chewing gum. We don't chew gummies, y'all. But make sure y'all getting y'all, Stacey, we miss you. You missed us. This is stuff you miss, don't you, Stacey?
Yes.
But make sure y'all getting y'all checkup, women. Mammograms. and everything, right? And then guys, make sure that you're getting your prostates checked.
Yes.
Make sure you're getting colonoscopies. Like,
Yeah.
yo, we have to. I don't know what they're doing different in the food, or maybe they were doing it back then, but people, like, stuff is just showing up.
Right.
And a lot of times people aren't, they're finding out when it's too late. They're finding out when it's too late. And early detection is best, right? And so we do want to, again, continue to pray and keep those in our thoughts that may be dealing with some ailment that they cannot help, or they're having to be medicated or whatever. We're definitely keeping you in our thoughts and prayers. And I'll be remiss if I didn't mention, please don't forget to visit www.breatheeasy.live, www.breatheeasy.live, where you can click the donate link and become an organ donor. Again, the young lady that attended my church that transitioned to heaven this week, she was an organ donor, and they did the walk as well as she began to donate her organs. So you just never know. And you can click it on your DMV license. You can do it, okay?
Right.
All right, Renee, you ready to have some conversations?
Absolutely.
Let's have some conversations. I think, okay, there we go. So one thing someone asked about was isolation. And I don't even know if I had heard of isolation, but it can occur like where people are in relationships within their home and they can feel isolated, like alone. And so I have a relationship story or challenge that I want to share, and then we're just going to converse about it, if that's okay. We'll say that this person's name is Jamie. Jamie says, I've been having issues with my new boyfriend. He's really into me, but he doesn't like it when I hang out with friends without him. At first, I thought it was just ones he didn't know, but now he even gets annoyed when I hang out with people in our friend group. What should I do? So, what would y'all tell Jamie? This is a new boyfriend.
Nick got it right there.
Run. This is a new boyfriend who don't want you hanging out with any of your friends.
Star.
You say use a runner, use a track star.
Use a track star.
So you don't think?
Nope. Nope, because that's control. You shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that's trying to control you. That's just facts, because it's not going to get any better.
So do you feel like she should first express to him, like, isolating me from my family and my friends?
She can, but he knows what he's doing.
You feel like he knows?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
And do you feel like the behavior is unhealthy?
It is, absolutely. Absolutely.
So have you ever been in a relationship where a guy may not have wanted you to be around family or friends? I see some head nods in the building. What about you at home? Give us some thumbs up. Have you ever been in a relationship where the guy or girl, right, didn't want you around your family or friends?
No, but my family felt like he was that way, that he was trying to isolate me from my family, but they kind of knew. I wasn't. Yeah.
Did you have a blind spot to it? Because if your family saw it, do you feel like you had a blind spot?
No, I don't. I didn't have a blind spot to it so much. It was more, like a person's mannerisms. Like if they come around your family and they don't really talk to them.
Okay.
They don't engage.
Okay.
And so they're always ready to go. Okay, Renee, I'm ready to go. And oftentimes I'd be like, well, next time we need to drive 2 cars.
Yeah, because you won't be ready to go.
Because I'm not
but
ready.
That could be a form of, well, we got balloons. I've never seen balloons.
Oh, where did they come from?
How did y'all see balloons?
Ooh,
do it again.
I know,
so they
'cause
can
I
see it. I was
missed
like,
them.
how did they do it, Stacey? I like balloons. Was that like I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
So we know that isolation, keeping us from our family and friends, is an unhealthy behavior that can be easy to miss, because it might seem like the other person is just really into you.
Yeah.
Because if I want you all to myself, that is kind of gassing. Though, it can blow your head up like, come here. But that's unhealthy.
Yeah, because I think in some respects, sometimes, especially if it's new, you might feel, my boo just loves me. He can't get enough of me, and but it's deeper than that. But initially, you might find it flattering, but it's really not.
It really isn't. So it is easy to miss, right?
Yeah.
Initially, until it's too far gone. But this can be a part of your boyfriend's attempt to control you, like we said, right? If you feel like you're being pulled away from people you care about, share your concerns with your boyfriend. In a healthy relationship, he will listen to you and change his behavior. So the reason that was important to point out, I don't want y'all just cutting people off right away. Right, y'all be like, run, I get it, but share it first. And so that's with any relationship. We owe it to the person how their behavior makes us feel.
Right.
Because if not, it's going to keep perpetuating itself, right? You like, we want it to stop because you're like, it ain't me. But you probably wouldn't want that cascaded onto anybody else either. Like if he was there was like exactly. Or if somebody grab you. Like one time I know I was in a relationship with a guy and I was doing something, he kind of grabbed my arm. I can't tell y'all the N word I said, but if you don't let go of my arm.
I know, right?
Right, like you're not gonna grab me like that. Oh, no, I was just trying to get your attention. You weren't trying to get my attention, adding that extra grip. Nah, bruh. However, immediately with that,
right,
we were good because you know you're not gonna. That grab was the initial start of something, and so when I said, "Hey, express or have a conversation with the person," I corrected the behavior and told him, but then I still exit.
Right.
So again, to Nikki's point, if you're running and you feel like that's a early sign, don't leave without making sure that you express to that person how their behavior made you feel. Ladies, and it's never okay. But also for guys, because we could feel some kind of way. We don't want guys always around his friends or something like that. Now, again, that can all be relative because he ain't going to kiki with a bunch of girls that was his friends. And ha-ha.
Right.
You know, all those things are, so just keep your eyes on that. And again, if it is a healthy relationship, he's going to listen and change his behavior. If he doesn't, or if you feel uncomfortable talking with him about it, I suggest, just making sure that you ask somebody else for advice, or, if you're really into him and you really don't want the relationship to end, get a mediator where y'all can kind of talk through it. But if it ain't worth it, you do need to peace out. Stacey and Nikki, what are they saying on social media? Anything from Facebook or YouTube that maybe any comments like, nah, not around here? What would y'all do?
What would I do? Because I've been there before, I know that initial conversation of, I don't want you hanging out with your friends, or I only want you to go out certain times a week.
So that's a red flag for you right away.
Because now you're trying to see how much you can get away with.
Yeah.
And that is it. How much you can get away with.
See how much you'll fall for.
How much you'll fall for.
Because if you'll fall for one, then I'm going to come up with number 2. And then number 3, next thing you know, you're going to be sitting in the house. You're not going to have a relationship with your family. You're not going to have a relationship with your friends. And you might not even have a job because he wants to know where you're at all times.
Or just want to pop up and show up. But that is isolation. That is isolation. I have one for y'all, though. There are platonic friendships where certain friends may not want you hanging out with other people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've experienced that where they, where people like, why you with her? Or what? You have to know who you are in someone's life. And believe it or not, people can love and like a lot of people at the same time.
Yeah.
And it not impact you.
Right.
But again, you have to know where you are in someone's life. And you also have to make sure that whether it's male, female, platonic, or intimate relationship, whatever it is, that you are not allowing somebody to isolate you from loved ones and friends.
Right.
It is never and is not okay.
It's not okay.
It is not okay. So that was Jamie. So we would tell Jamie, again, if it's familiar, run, but make sure that you communicate to that person how their behavior again makes you feel.
I think, as you were saying, that's the minimum that you can do. Maybe this particular person is not aware that behavior is unacceptable.
Right.
Maybe they saw that. Maybe their father did that to their mother. Maybe it was we perpetuate a cycle.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that person needs some help and doesn't realize it because that's all they know because that's how their parents were. So I think it is definitely fair game to say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. And for that reason, I am going to bow out. But, I suggest, you get some help.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This has nothing to do with this scenario. However, an example of that is I just got a training in ethics and improprieties, right? And one of the scenarios, and it was a ministry, but one of the scenarios we refer back to is a young lady that we've heard about on social media where the pastor made her go before the church. Y'all have to remember that the person who recorded it wasn't the young lady who did the confession, obviously, right? She didn't set up a camera and record it. It was somebody in there that felt like it was wrong, probably, and shared it or whatever. But even to them, the mom, they thought it was okay.
They thought it was okay.
Because that's what they grew up in. The only reason I use that as a reference is certain things that we deem as like common sense or what are you doing, that may not be, to your point with that guy. Like, he may not know what he's doing is wrong. He may think that that's his way of expressing his love or his attachment to you and not realize that it's unhealthy.
It's unhealthy.
And
that's
so
right.
maybe in past years, women let him do it until it came too far.
Right.
But we have to stop the cycles and things now. And again, I'm a boy mom. And so I have boy moms that, that some have children. Of course, Jordan doesn't. And I always tell them I'm a woman first. And I was a woman first and a mother second.
Right.
Right. And so I always try to educate them. I can't control some of the things they do, but I always tell them to take a step back and consider your mom.
Right.
Like, consider your mom and your parents. So again, what may be common for you may not be common for someone else. And so that's why we have to make sure that we educate them. And we all have our internal biases towards certain things. Like, I'm real sensitive to domestic violence because in my home, at certain stages there was domestic violence. And so I don't play it at all. It's never okay. And even in a way you talk to someone, I gave them an example, the ladies in a room earlier, where someone made a comment like via text. And I was like, don't you ever. And I meant it. Right. Don't you ever. You have to put a seal on something right away. Because to your point, Renee, people will push to see how much they can get away from with. And before you know it, they going to just be talking to you any kind of way. Anytime family. Way. Baby, no. Exactly. And then this is the thing, though. After I check you, I ain't going to hold it. But if it come up again, like, again, because all of us, we have those moments. But you need to make sure that you check behavior right away that isn't okay. Like, just check the behavior. It's very, very important. And so even those of us who are in relationships that's extended along a while, there's certain behaviors that can be picked up once that relationship continues. And we just have to address it, y'all. So that was an example of isolation. This next example, y'all, we talked about some time ago. I don't know if you were here or not, Stacey. It was gaslighting. And the guy name is Quinn. So I'll tell y'all about this one. Quinn says, and I'll give you the third one, Renee, and hopefully based on how I'm doing it, you can probably read that one and navigate through it when we talk. I know she said, but you'll see how I'm kind of talking to it. Oh, you got your glasses. Do you need them? Okay. So let's talk about Quinn. Quinn says, I've been having a problem with a friend. Lately, she acts like I'm stupid or something. When I'm talking to someone else, she jumps in and corrects me. Ooh, wee, baby. Which makes me feel bad about myself. I tried to talk with her about it, but she says I'm being ridiculous. Am I being too self-conscious? So again, Quinn, I've been having a problem with a friend. He just said a friend. Lately, she acts like I'm stupid or something. When I'm talking to someone else, she jumps in and corrects me, which makes me feel bad about myself. Am I just being self-conscious? What do y'all think on social media? We want y'all to converse back with us. Do you think that Renee Quinn is being self-conscious because he's being corrected? I mean, he says every time.
No, I don't. I think he needs to have a conversation with his girlfriend and say, I appreciate your effort and maybe trying to redirect me, but can we do that privately?
Yeah, right. And he's saying it's just a friend. It ain't even a girlfriend yet. Oh. It's just a friend.
Yeah.
And then she says you being ridiculous. One thing about gaslighting is they will make you believe.
They try to, yeah.
They try to make you believe that you missing, that you crazy. No, y'all gotta pay attention. And there's nothing. I tell my sons this. I don't know if y'all had this situation with your kids where you're telling a story and they want to jump in and try to correct how you telling it. I've had like Jordan. I'll be like my younger kids. Like back in the day, they know not to play. You bet not even blink. Yeah. But these new age kids, as I call them, they be sitting back with their legs crossed, eating chips and drinking cocoa. And you wanting to be in your conversation. We couldn't even sit around it. So I'll be telling something, and Jordan be like, I'd be like, you already taste.
Yes.
You already taste something.
Because old school was children are seen and not heard.
And not heard.
And you knew that because you would be picking your teeth up off the floor.
Yeah, literally, right? Yeah. You wouldn't even be in the room.
You weren't even in the room.
You wouldn't even been in the room. So I'm guilty. So again, because he's always around me, and sometimes I'm like, I said channel 3 here, and y'all used to could spell it. Like, because Jourdan in here, you know he gonna tell Every, Thing. He was like, I'm in here and I'm gonna tell everything. Like, so they know how to spell.
Yes.
And I remember I did that with Unique. I was like, you coming back later? I was telling the guy. He was like, looking at me. I said, the YEK reverse is, and then Unique later on, he was like, he got a key. Because I said YEK reverse, and he reversed YEK to knew I was telling the guy where the key was going to be. So again, don't let anybody make you think that even if he is a little self-conscious, address the behavior. When you do this, I'm telling y'all, it's a great technique.
Yes.
When you do this is how it makes me feel. You have to tell people what the behavior is and how it makes you feel. Because if you don't, y'all know we've all been in a workplace where they come try to give us feedback and we're like, when? We can't. Well, when was that? Give me an example. And sometimes you can't, give an example. Well, when I'm telling a story and you interject to correct me, it makes me feel like I'm stupid.
Right.
Oh, no, you're being ridiculous. I would never do that. I understand that's not your intention.
Right.
However, the behavior makes me feel.
But this is how it makes
this
me
way.
feel.
Right? And y'all, and I'm not trying to be nitpicky, Renee, subtle behaviors need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
If you see an ant around your windowsill, he got a tribe. Okay? He has a tribe. If you see a fruit fly, we know that from the summer.
Army.
Jesus.
He got a little army.
He got an army. What I mean by that is, if you don't start addressing the subtle things, it turns into something a lot bigger.
Oh, absolutely.
Who's gonna stuff their tub and let the water drip? Because it's just a little drip. And if you leave that drip, you're gonna come back and it's gonna overflow. It may take a while.
Right.
So you gotta address the drip. Right? Don't let anybody make you feel like you're being ridiculous. And so as we look at some of the things as to how you can facilitate that conversation, sometimes that friend, it may be difficult to have the conversation about things like that with a friend. When your friend says you're being ridiculous, she may be manipulating you. So you start to doubt your own experience and begin to feel like you're being too sensitive. That type of manipulation is called gaslighting.
Right.
Remember to trust yourself and to know that your feelings are valid.
And they matter. They absolutely
And nobody
matter.
has to agree with
That's
them.
right. Yep. What matters is how you were made to feel.
How you were made to feel. And it took me a long time, because sometimes I sit back, I was like, am I tripping? No, like what? Like right now, you don't invalidate your feelings.
Exactly.
And maybe you could be tripping a little bit, but you tripping and you gonna make them aware of it.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, maybe I am tripping.
And yeah, maybe you are
but
tripping.
as an FYI,
this is how I feel.
if that's not your intent, here's how your intentions maybe.
Make me
this is
feel.
how you made me feel.
Yeah. This is how
And
you
it's
mean.
and it's not okay. And
Yes.
it's not okay. And the reason I pause here so much, because I realize and biasly, and some people have said it in my chat, thank you, the guys who like, Coach Q, this thing just doesn't go one way. It's some of us out here that are good guys as well, where women gaslight us.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was like, you know what, you're right. And so those are my biases. Those are my internal biases. And I can't even lie. Like, I haven't gaslit anybody or anything like that. But some of the scenarios I've experienced as a woman, I know I've done to men. But I'm like, they're a guy and I'm just paying them back. But it may not have been that guy that I'm paying back. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to make it seem like it's just one-sided. I know, guys, there are women who will, in this example, again with Quinn, that will do some gaslighting. And there are women, and we've seen it. I've seen people talk to their significant others or friends or people like that any kind of way in public. And sometimes you embarrass. You be like squinching because you're like, don't do that to, like, you feel embarrassed.
Why are you doing that in front of me?
In front of me. Like, I shouldn't be here. And I know Renee said, hey, let's discuss that in private. But it's almost like correcting a parent. And Derek and I talked about it all the time. Like, and then I got to the point where I wouldn't say anything, Nikki, right? But he was like, oh, you'll move. Like, I can tell. Like, because I saw it. Like, and Jordan could pick up on that. And so he would play that. And so I really had to work on allowing my late husband to discipline and have that way with Jordan. Now, if I disagreed after the fact and I was like, you were a little too rough though, babe. I wouldn't do that in front of Jordan, you know. And Jordan would come to me, he was like, Dad was just rough. I mean, he just hurt my feelings. I said, you know, I used to say, I know, baby, but don't worry about it. And so I'm in there like, and he would always do it. And Derek would like, that boy, that's what's wrong with him. Like, he, you know. And then I had to get to the point where like, oh no, you deserve that one, Jordan, you know. And so it's just moments like that we have to be careful of manipulating the situation and correcting people. Nobody wants to be publicly corrected.
No, not at all.
Or embarrassed.
No.
So in the relationships that you have, even if you know it, you know, or he's rested in heaven. I love him. My husband used to say, he would say, the perception is terrible in this place. I was like, the perception. I said, you talking about the reception? He was like,
no, he's talking about the perception.
You're
talking about the perception, the actual perception?
No, he was talking about from his cell phone.
Listen to me. Lord, that went over my head.
I was like, see, yeah, look, Renee said no, he had to be like.
Maybe he's talking about perception.
Like, right? And then he would say something like, yeah, like, or he would say like, no, they just need to be more Pacific. I said, the ocean? You know, I used to
yeah, I get, okay.
I would tease him.
Yes.
But never publicly. I just was like, babe, you better not say that ocean no more in front of them folks. You know it's specific. He'd be like, babe, you know what I'm talking about. I do, but they don't. Like, I need you to fix that, you know, sometimes. And so it's things like that, y'all, that you may be anxious. And I tell that story, but you may be anxious hanging off the edge of your seat. Like
you want to say
something.
Oh my God.
But you don't always have to be the corrector. And there are some people in relationships that always have to be the corrector, y'all. So we talked about isolation. We talked about gaslighting. Which one do you have, Renee?
Lack of trust.
Lack of trust. This is going to be a good one.
And this is from Rowan.
Rowan, okay.
My best friend thinks I shared a secret about her. Now she is acting paranoid, like I'm spreading rumors about her. If she sees me Snapchatting or talking to other girls, she'll freak out and ask, what am I saying? It's frustrating and stressful, and I'm not sure how to talk to her about it.
So what would you do if this friend feels like you've said something? How would you handle that? Are y'all commenting at home? Because Stacey and Nikki ain't gave me nothing that y'all saying. Y'all got any advice? How would you help? Who was it? Ronan?
Rowan.
Rowan said that his friend feels like, you know, he shared some private information with some other people. So now she's super paranoid that he may be doing it. What would you recommend before Renee shares some of the recommendations that may be on our cue card? Like, what would you say, Stacey? What would you tell Rowan?
I mean, you like you said before, you have to address what's being, you know, the thoughts, and you know, you got to address it. So you have to come to your friend and say, well, why do you feel like I said,
yep,
you know, why do you feel like that? And address whatever she brings to the table, because it may just be something going on with her.
Right.
You
and
may
then,
not have ever said anything.
Yeah, and you may not have. But how many times have we walked up and somebody stopped talking? And they just give you the look. It was like, oh, they were talking about me. I feel like sometimes it's a feel. You can tell, though. I'm just quick commercial.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says. You can tell when somebody's talking about you, though, and they try to change the subject or try to do something and randomly say, yeah, because you was just saying something, you know. And again, that may be true. And in those instances, sometimes, you know, you don't address that. But to Stacey's point, if I feel like Stacey has shared some information about me, I think it's important to bring to your attention. Like, did you share some information? And if Stacey says no, if that's your friend, you have to trust that she hasn't, unless you have receipts.
Right. Yeah, because you're going based off of, I think. There's nothing concrete about I think. And so I don't think it's fair, because now you're making an assumption.
Right.
You know what they say about making an assumption?
We don't know.
You don't know?
I didn't know if you want to cuss, Renee, because it's Sunday. You got on your little church
But you know
outfit.
that's my favorite word.
I know that is. You know that from that video we did on karaoke. That's all Renee did. Back that A up. Back that A up. I was like, if she say the A word one more time, but Renee.
When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Okay.
When you're
So-
making assumptions.
So try not to make an assumption. So do you feel like, though, if I am assuming and I say, well, Renee, did you tell this? And you say no. And if we have a relationship or a friendship, I should trust your word.
I think you should trust my word.
Okay.
Unless you have something that contradicts that.
Okay. I like it.
You know,
Unless you
and-
have something that contradicts
Unless you
it.
have something that contradicts that, because you can't go based off I think, because that actually causes problems in a relationship. Because if you know the character of the individual that is your friend,
Yeah, I love it.
you know, then you can't, you my girl. I can't sit around and say, I think you did something. I got to know that you did that. For us to even really have a conversation about, because now I am paranoid.
Right.
When you start thinking, oh, I think X said X, Y, Z. Where did you get that from?
Right.
Unless you're questioning the content of my character.
Yeah. Unless it is that friend that talking. All of us, y'all. Like, one thing, I don't know if it was my mom or who I was talking to, like how I've had some encounters with some people that I've had, that are friends. And my mom says, when we said Jesus was the example of friendship, he had 12 disciples. He had one that doubted who he was. He had someone who would, like Peter, would fight for him, cut out of the ear of somebody, but he still denied him as a friend to progress his own self. Judas betrayed him. Meaning we have friends within our that
circle.
talk. So if they said such and such said it, I'm like, oh, they probably did. But what they say, like certain things, you like, oh, that sound like them. That sound like that. And then we ask, and they say, I ain't say it. I didn't say it. I only bring that up to say, just because somebody always does talk, if they tell us honestly that they didn't say it, would you still trust them? Stacy said,
I don't
Nikki?
No, because if they're always talking, and they talking to you about somebody else, then they talking about you.
You talking
Somebody
about
else. That's
exactly. And also too, and to piggyback on that is, if you already know that's the friend that likes to do this, then you already should know that you shouldn't tell her nothing.
Yeah, shouldn't even tell him.
You should even say, listen, that you my boo, I love you, but
And that's how you had to do. So the thing I had told her about a party to the friend that don't tell nothing, I didn't think that she would randomly blurt it out today in front of... Inside joke, y'all. Transparent moment.
yes.
Nikki is as I'm telling
Yes.
you. When I say my sister Jewel, I always say Jewel did a good job. Nikki is my baby, hands down.
Yes.
I love her. Her mama, daddy, her kids, all of them. I love them. I love them, right? Stacy, my girl, she really is. Me and Stacy have a relationship. We share some private things. Renee is my heart friend. We walk and we talk. And so just because Renee know I have a close relationship with the people in the room, this is a good example. Renee can't assume the stuff that she know, they know.
That's right. She's absolutely right.
No, seriously,
you're
right? This is good.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's right. And typically, and she knows this about me as
Right.
well. Even if I know you know, I'm still not gonna say anything.
That's one thing I say about Renee. Renee says she can know you know. So if I
I'll
come
be like,
talking, she know you know. She ain't gonna still
I'm gonna sit there
comment.
and act like this is the first
She
time
sure
I
will.
heard it.
She will. And that's what I know about it. Now, let's be clear. What she was bringing up wasn't like no big secret. It was just a kiki ha-ha joke. But I was kind of surprised. And she actually gave off, I told her to Sherelle. So, Sherelle, if you cooking and watching, I said, oh, you doing the Sherelle. You doing the Sherelle. And Sherelle know what I'm talking about. Toya, I don't know if you watching. If y'all are watching, give me check marks. But today I began to tell Toya about a scenario, and I was getting to the story, and Sherelle began to say, and this, and this, and this, and this. I'm like, damn. And I was going to tell Toya, but Sherelle, if you watching the replay, Sherelle was like, shoot, yeah, and this, and don't remember this. Oh, yeah, girl, and this. I was like, well, damn. Then we all knew, look, so Renee did a Sherelle a day. Just so you know, Sherelle. Like, so again, we say that in jokes and hee-hee-ha. However, seriously, you have to be consciously aware, right, of what you're saying, because you may not know you know. And I even had to tell Jordan, I was like, Jordan, now I'm going to walk up to such and such. Now, You may have heard some bits and pieces about something, but don't be over there like, yeah, because, don't nod and agree, and don't be like, just wait.
Right.
Just, you just got to wait things out. And then, like I always say, we can't assume because we have close relationships with multiple individuals that each of those individuals are privy to the same information.
Right.
And then they could be topically aware, but not in much detail. That's the other part of it. They can be aware of the situation. So, like Stacey be like, well, who is Rob?
Yeah.
Like, well, who is? And I'm like, Nikki may know a little bit more than Renee know, and then Renee may know, so there's different stages. So you there's different levels, y'all, and you gotta be okay with that. There's certain levels that people have, they begin to share. And again, we just have to be okay with that. What was some of the information they talked about in that scenario, Renee, with as you moved on past the scenario when he said, she's just being paranoid? Was there anything else?
Well, it just really talks about, your friend wants to be sure that you don't share her secret.
Okay.
And the only way you can be sure that she's not going to share her secret is you don't tell her.
Yeah, if you don't tell her, but again, we all got to tell somebody something like we do.
Yeah, but
we just
got to
get it out. Now, that's the one that run. Yeah.
You don't tell her,
I got a good one for y'all. If I tell you something, Nikki, Stacey, and Renee, and I said, please don't tell anybody, does that include your significant other?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when something is private, you don't tell your significant other about it.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I had a friend, and she and her husband had split up, and she says, we're really not, I'm not really sharing it with anyone. I said, okay, fine. So my husband and I went to go visit her. And so her husband had moved out. So, Stephen's sitting there like, where's Chris? And so she looked at me like, you didn't tell him? You said don't tell nobody.
That is it. I wanted to now that's, you feel like that pillow talk though, y'all. But pillow talk will get you in trouble. We've all pillow talk.
Yeah.
And however, I'm just saying, if somebody says don't tell anybody, and then there are certain things you don't want to tell because they don't know the details. So sometimes when I'm listening to my friends that I've told information, they say, yeah, when I was talking to my husband, I'll be like, no, you didn't. No, you did tell your husband that I let. What? How did that come up in conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you tell him? No, because we were talking about now. He'd be like, "Oh, who's it? This?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't tell. Yeah. So there are some conversations that are girl talk that may not. And then my late husband, boy, he'll be like, he call himself whispering. Hey, was that the one that you? I'd be like. So I'm not saying I didn't learn the hard way with certain things, but my husband, I was like, I ain't telling him nothing.
Yes.
I ain't telling him
they like
nothing.
to ear hustle too.
And that's what I'm saying. They'll ear hustle. They'll do all of that. He'd be like, baby, is that the one right there?
Yeah, like.
I said, Derek, go ahead and say it out loud so they can hear. He'd be like, I ain't even talking loud.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're looking at us, so they hear you.
It's just like MYOB. Like,
mind your own business. And if you hear it, you don't hear it. Like those are the things you do, or if you walk up on something, So again, y'all, when we're talking about relationships, how do you handle relationships, whether they're platonic, they're intimate relationship, whatever whatever the issue may be, or whatever type of relationship, is important to make sure that you express to a person how they may make you feel. And again, it may not have been intentional.
Right.
It may not have been intentional, but we still owe it to them to provide them that feedback. So that way they are more conscious the next time. Like, oh my gosh, I did not intend to offend you. Like, I meant what I said, but it wasn't in a nature of offense. And guess what we're going to do, y'all? We're human. We're going to offend.
Right.
Like, we're going to offend. But we also have to be in a posture of grace and understanding as well. Like, once you talk to that person, where it is. So you have to, again, Sherelle, I'll use you as a reference. You reminded me of it again this morning, or in our conversation, that when you're wanting to confront or address a situation with a friend, you owe it to them. And some people may not like it, to tell them what it's about. Like, hey, I want to chat with you. Mm-hmm. And you already known that there's been something off. You owe it to that person. Say, hey, I want to chat with you about what happened when we went walking. I want to chat with you what happened when we went out that night. You have to, so in their mind, they can be like, because in that way, they're not, go ahead, Nikki, what you going to say?
Get ready, they don't feel attacked. They haven't been able to prepare. Like, you didn't instead of all this point A, B, C, D, and they like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, because they're not even ready, and they want to be prepared for the conversation as well. And when people feel attacked in a confrontation, what happens? Emotions get involved.
Right.
So people think confronting is always negative or bad. But you can confront without offending. And that is setting people up for the conversation. Again, like I said, telling them how their behavior made you feel and allowing them to prepare for the conversation. And then what do you expect to get out of it? Right. That's the big thing. Hey, can I sit down and chat? Because my relationship with you is important and I want to make sure that we continue to be able to, have a great relationship. Exactly. I want us to, there's been some tension. And so what I want out of this is for us to move past it.
Right.
And then just because that one person, Stacey, wants to move past it doesn't mean that you have to. Stacey, while I understand that your goal of this conversation was for us to move past it and kind of pick up where we left off, based on some of your behaviors and some of the interactions, I don't think we can do that. That may be hard, but you have to be honest and upfront with that person and say, actually, we can't. Right. Now, we can be cordial, respectful, and polite.
Right.
However, the level of relationship we have, it can't. It can't go back, or it's not the same. And y'all, we can't feel guilty about that. And all of us have probably had some relationships where that, we'll call it a draw because it just isn't. And you have to respect someone for that.
Absolutely.
For them being honest with you instead of after you talk now, they giving you the cold shoulder like they don't want you to be around again. Like, no, let's be honest with individuals. So.
And that's also a form of self-care as well.
It is a form of self-care.
It is a form of self-care. Because you don't want to act like you want to be friends with this person again, but you really don't.
Yeah.
And so now you're starting to build up this animosity.
And every little thing, every little thing will pile up. Can y'all believe it's like 5:57? I'm like, dun, 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 dun. We're going to get that clock up on the wall, Jeff. That's one of the things, get the clock up on the wall. Because Coach D ain't never put the clock up. Hey, Coach D. Back then when, I was Coach D and that don't sound right. All right, y'all, real quick, let me talk through this. It says, you've been with a guy for 20 years or so.
Okay.
He's undiagnosed autism and has ADHD. He's a good man and a good provider. When you first got together, you were in your early 20s. You are kind of shy and introverted, and you came from a strict religious family. You aren't married, but you had a child with him because you wanted a child. But since the pregnancy and having the baby, you focus completely on the child. You kind of let your partner fall to the side. If you're being honest, your relationship has not been great for several years before this, but you wanted a child and you didn't think it was going to happen. You didn't get married. You hadn't had a date night since the child was born. You also haven't really cared either. Then a new woman appears in his life and he starts acting differently. He's taking better care of himself and he's feeling motivated in work. They aren't doing anything. He's with you, but since she's arrived, you've noticed a huge change in him. He's different. You've caught him stalking her social media. She's younger. She's beautiful like a model. And she's smart. And she has a lot in common with him. They like the same things that you start to feel not good enough. And it's making you reflect on your relationship. You want to work on it. So you book family holidays and try to spend more time together, find fun things to do together, but you can't seem to get past this. You seem to fight about this a lot. You fight about her a lot. You tell him to put distance between her, and he does. He does everything you tell him. You notice he seems sad. He's not himself. He's not happy. He's feeling stressed. Your birthday passed, and he got you the wrong gift. You can tell when he's seen her because he seems happy again and he's trying with you, but he never seems that happy with you anymore. You talk about marriage, but it's not out of love. It's out of legality for your child. What would you do? What are you feeling? What is going through your head? Woo, that's a lot to unpack. That is a whole lot to unpack because let's be honest, man or woman, if you're not getting attention at home, and all of a sudden you're getting attention in the workplace, there may not be anything going on, but you do feel better about yourself and you start desiring that. And so the person you're at home with may no longer be a desire. And so now when you get up for work, you getting ready, you smelling
Yes.
good, you spraying, you getting right.
Right.
And then you go to work and you feel good. And then he notices or she notices and they say back off. And now you're sad again because you were getting something out of this attention.
Right. Right.
But then what do you do? Like, what do you do with all of that? That was just a lot. I think you need therapy and counseling. We can't help you here at the Chattanooga Coach. No, I'm joking.
You stop being selfish. You're being selfish with them, and you're being selfish with yourself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because if all of this happened, these 20 years, you didn't want to be together. You're not married.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that type of relationship any longer. Why are you still there? Why are you being this placeholder? And then if you notice that person being happy because of someone else or whatever's going on, and you're not providing that or you don't have that type of relationship with them, why are you still together?
I love it.
Yeah.
So Nikki will be taking therapy appointments. You can reach her at 1-800-THERAPY.
Nick that chick.
Nick that chick. In essence, hopefully y'all been able to hear on YouTube, she said you're being selfish. Why are you there?
Yeah.
Great point. Do not be in a relationship just for a placeholder.
Right.
And it is icky to be alone. Loneliness can be, but you can be alone in a relationship.
Absolutely. You can be so alone.
You
in a
can be
relationship.
alone in a relationship, feel alone. And so, yes, everybody, I think, wants a warm body or wants companionship or want to go to movies and want to go out to eat. But in the back of your mind, you're like, what am I here for? And there is times, y'all hear, if he come down here, y'all hear his feet. Jordan be ready to come through this door at 6 o'clock. Y'all, he be like, it's 6
y'all
o'clock.
late.
It's 6:02 now, so he coming. I'd be like, give us time. But what I want to say to that situation, to Nikki's point, don't stay in a relationship you know ain't working, even for the kids. Not in this
No.
day and time, because
No.
it's unhealthy. And I'm telling y'all, people are going away from here. There's murder, suicides.
Right.
There's abuse. And guess what? That stuff transcends to your children.
It does.
They see it.
Yes.
They see it. So y'all, we got to protect these babies.
And we don't want to
very
repeat that
passionate.
cycle.
We don't want to repeat that cycle. We do. And at the same time, I'll tell you, don't walk away from a 20-year relationship that can be restored if you have conversations and stop being selfish. Like, we want attention. And I know, you think about it. Can I wake up with this person 20 years, 30 years, and 40 years? If you're putting up with stuff that irritates you now or stuff that you can't live with, and then you're looking for another 20, 30 years, you're setting yourselves up. So, work on it, tell them, and if it ain't fitting, you got to do something about it, because we ain't going to stay in a relationship or on a job, even though some of us have stayed on jobs that have mistreated us and stuff like that. We owe it to ourselves. Like Nikki said, don't be selfish to you or that other person. And y'all, everybody ain't got to put their cape on and be Superwoman or Superman and try to save people, because you can't, you can love somebody all you want. What's the guy? What are people called? Not just guys. What are they called? What's the guy told me he was? I may be a narcissist. Like, don't keep thinking, how we think, I can change them. Y'all listen,
Right.
you ain't got to save them. Give them the feedback. Some plant, some water, let God get an increase, okay?
Right.
Let him do his work.
Right.
Know
Right.
your place.
Right.
Because again, you can take on that burden and then know your time in somebody's life. Is it for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime? And
This
no
is
matter
true.
how much we love people, some people may be seasonal.
They may be seasonal. And, gone are the days where, your mama stayed with, your daddy for 50 years and they didn't talk to each other for 35 of them.
They did.
I mean.
And she's still making his plate,
And
carrying
she's
it to
still
him, and he
fixing
can't
his
stand
dinner.
it.
She's still fixing his dinner.
Can't
Yeah.
stand him.
You know?
And then you may be some of the mothers out there right now, like, girl, I just made his plate. Get on my nerve.
You
But
know?
we're not sitting around.
Yes.
But you know what, Renee? That's why people, they say, and we're wrapping up, that people don't want to do relationships no more. They feel like putting titles on it makes it, but we doing everything else relationship-ish.
We are.
But we don't want to put a title on it now because it makes a room easy. Like, well, it ain't like we boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, Joker, you been, and
Well,
you
yes.
been,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
then you been.
Exactly. And it's so funny because I saw it was you scrolling, but I saw this video where the young lady was saying she wasn't gonna cook him dinner because those are wifey benefits. Wifey, okay, but you're doing everything else, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
cooking them dinner is wifey. Okay, make that make sense.
Yeah, make that make sense. You're giving up that meow,
Yes, exactly.
but you're good for America. Right? And so you're saying like, and then he could say that, well, like when you got with me, you were cooking for me.
Yeah.
And we do early on, let me cook for you. And then they started expecting it. Right. And so it's just things like that. Y'all relationships, we could go on and on and on, but know that you matter. Know that you matter. Don't allow anybody to isolate you from family and friends. Be aware of gaslighting. Right. And then also, how do you measure trust?
Yeah.
How do you measure
lack
that
of
and
trust.
lack thereof? You owe it to yourselves, right? You owe it to those that you love to be open, honest, and straightforward.
Right.
Don't have anybody guessing. Don't have anybody making assumptions. Because normally if you feel some kind of way, address that some kind of way. Like, are we cool? Yeah, everything cool? No, seriously. Make it okay and make your room for somebody to be able to share with you.
Right,
Like make room, because sometimes you can have a strong personality. I have a very strong personality. However, I try to make room or welcoming space for people. Please tell me. I want to know if I did, and I don't always want to get it right. And sometimes, again, we put people so high up that they didn't really let us down.
Right.
We just had them too high up.
Right,
And so
absolutely.
remember that people are just human. None of us are perfect. Grant grace, but just hold people accountable for how they treat you.
Absolutely.
Train people how to treat you, and then expect it. But if you never tell me, if you never hold me accountable for it, then you're not going to get it.
Yeah, but then you get upset about it.
And then you get upset. And then you'll see them respect Renee, but they don't respect you.
Right.
You know, you'll see your husband or your boyfriend respect somebody on the street, but they
Right.
can't. So y'all, let's just address those things. Hopefully, if you watched thus far, you've had a couple of laughs. You had a couple of kikis and a couple of ha-has. Speaking of Kiki Palmer, the movie.
Was it a good?
We
Was it
saw
good?
it. Garbage.
It was.
It's garbage. Jordan was like, y'all went to see this. Y'all, I guess I shouldn't say that, because if some of you enjoyed it, then you enjoyed it. Keke Palmer, I love her.
I love Keke
right?
Palmer.
She's a Virgo.
Yes.
You know, I love Keke Palmer. But I was just like, Dad, this is all we doing.
Yes.
It was
It's kind of like Friday-ish.
yeah, like kind of,
Oh,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
Friday.
kind of,
Oh, it was
yeah,
like-
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay,
kind of one of
okay.
those days. And I mean, I'm just gonna do like just some of the stuff. I was like, we don't do. Who does that?
Right.
And
right.
you know, I don't know. That's anyway.
Were you sitting in the movie theater rolling your eyes?
Quality time. Like I went with my sisters.
Yes.
And we had a good time, right? And Jordan was there. Jordan was like, duh, 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 duh,
Yeah.
duh, duh. And then when the girl was like, they was like, yeah, she got a booty. Jordan's like, she didn't even have a booty. And you know, and she didn't. But anyway, go see it. Support it, do whatever,
Yeah.
but I don't want your hopes
Black
up high. I
theater.
like what you said, like kind of a Friday, kind of. But even Friday won't way out like that. Like I don't know. It was just different.
Right,
It was
right.
different. We laughed. Now this is totally. I know I said I was gonna go, but this is totally inappropriate. There will be one part of them scenes that will shock you. I'm gonna tell y'all off camera. And I yelled out, "I know you lying." That thing shocked me, y'all. When y'all see it, y'all will know what I'm talking about. But I was like, I know that you are lying. But again, it just exaggerate the manhood of our brothers. I was like,
Oh
you know,
Lord.
I was
Well,
like,
we
I know
know
you.
what's coming.
I was like, I know you lying. If you telling the truth, don't nobody want that. I don't care what nobody say. We don't, not that right there. Okay, keep that in the movies because that's just too much.
Because that's a prop.
That's a prop. That was a prop. That was it. So anyway, y'all, we've had fun today. Remember, we're not here next week. But we'll be here the week after. And I'm hoping the week after we're going to have a special guest on. I'm so excited for her to come on and share her story. So Nikki is starting the music. We're going to, Nikki is not starting her head. You too. Y'all already know we get down with y'all. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Until next time. Come on. This shit low to the ground. I couldn't do it. Listen. This